Hello and welcome to this collection of video tutorials for the summer season blanket pattern. This is section 1, the first video, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make this square, which is one of the 9 squares that make up the center of the blanket. We're going to start with this center. This is round 1 and it's in the cream. So I'll take that. This is an odd ball which is more than halfway done. Start by making a slip knot onto the hook like that and chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you've got a collection of 4 chains in a row, but you're going to turn that into a circle by putting your hook into the very first chain, yarning over and pulling through both it and the loop on your hook to close up that line of chains and make a circle. And the circle has a space in the middle, and that's where you're going to be working all of your stitches for round 1. The next thing is to chain 4. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, and the 4 chains are made up of 3 chains to be the equivalent of the very first double treble stitch and a chain 1. So that gives you a clue as to the stitches you're going to be making into this circle. They're double treble stitches. If we take this back, you can maybe just count that there are 12 spokes going around round 1, so 11 more stitches. We've made our first stitch, although it's not a double treble stitch, it's chain 3, which is the equivalent of the first double treble. And now we're going to make the next double treble, so that's yarn over twice round your hook into the center, yarn over and pull up a loop, and you've got 4 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through 2, and you've got 3 loops. Yarn over, pull through 2, 2 loops, and yarn over, pull through those last 2, and that makes a long crochet stitch. Now we're going to chain 1 and do the same thing again, twice round the hook, in, yarn over, pull up your loop, 4 loops, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and chain 1. Now there are another 9 to make, and I'll go round the complete round 1 and I'll be back when I get to the end and ready to finish off. My complete round 1 is here, and it's important when you get to this point, before we close off the round and cut the yarn, to check that we've got the right number of these spokes, because that's really important for the rest of the pattern. So 1, which is the first chain 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, ending with chain 1. And then you just need to find the top of that very first, that first group of 3 chain stitches. You go into the top and make a slip stitch, and that's round 1 complete. So you can cut your yarn. Don't cut your lengths too long. About that would be fine for sewing in. You're going to be sewing these ends in very securely, but you don't want too long an end because it wastes yarn. And pull it through, and that is round 1. I'll put the cream yarn out of the way for the moment. You will be sewing this end, particularly the center end, in very tightly, but I'll just pull it just now to show you what this first round looks like. So that's round 1. Now for round 2, we're going to go with the pale green, the mushy peas, and you just need to attach your yarn. I haven't turned this, it's lying on the front, and I'm just going to put my hook into the space between any of those double treble stitches, pull through and attach my yarn. And for this, we're going to make some groups of 3 treble stitches this time. This was double treble, we're going down to treble stitches. If you're in the US and watching this tutorial, the double treble stitch in the US is called a treble crochet stitch, which is complicated because this treble crochet stitch in the US is called double crochet. Now you will have either the US or the UK version of the pattern to work from, and that will keep you right. But we're making in UK, I will talk you through the pattern in the video tutorials in UK terms, but just bear in mind that if you're in the US, you'll need to be adjusting that for yourself. So I'm going to chain 2, and that's the equivalent of the first treble stitch. Then yarn over, go into the same space, yarn over and pull up your loop, and you've got 3 loops sitting on the hook. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and that's a treble crochet stitch. Yarn over again into the same space and make a second treble crochet stitch. So you've got a group of 3 treble crochet stitches. In this case it was chain 2 and 2 trebles, but there will be 3 treble crochet stitches in every space around the circle. So into the next one, yarn over into the next space, 1 treble crochet, 2, 3. And that is what it looks like so far. I'll work round with my 3 treble crochets in each space, and I'll see you when I get to the end of round 2. So we're just about at the end of round 2, and I've come to the point where I started with the chain 2, and I'm just going to go in. In fact, you don't have to go into the top of the chain 2, which is maybe sometimes a little bit tight. You can just go into the top of the first treble stitch and pull your yarn through and then cut it and pull it through. So that is round 2 complete, and for round 3 we're going to be working with the deeper mauve colour and going to be using a very small stitch this time. It's called a double crochet stitch, and in the US that is a single crochet. And I want you to look at these groups of 3 stitches that go into the one space, and you're going to put your hook in between one of the 2 groups. Push your hook into the space between. Don't split the group of 3, go in between and pull up your loop. And this is just the way I attach my yarn. Now you would normally do a chain 1 when you're starting a double crochet stitch, but I want to keep this quite small and unobtrusive, this stitch that we've attached. So all I'm going to do is put my hook into the space, pull up the loop and pull through the 2 loops, and that is a double crochet stitch. So I haven't done the chain 1 before the double crochet, I've just attached my yarn and made a double crochet stitch. Now I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and all that does is carry me over my group of 3 treble stitches to the next point where I'm going to make a double crochet. So in here I'm going to put my hook in and pull up a loop, and you've got 2 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through 2. So that's my second double crochet. Chain 3 and find the next space between the groups and make a double crochet stitch. Chain 3. So you can see what I'm doing. I'm working all the way around, putting this little double crochet stitch in between each of the groups of 3 stitches. So I'll work all the way around, and I'll see you when I get to the end of round 3. So we're just about at the end of round 3, and where you're going to finish is going into that very first double crochet stitch. Now it does look a little bit thicker than the others because there was the point where you attached your yarn as well, but don't worry about that. Just push your hook into that double crochet stitch, pull up your loop, just wanting to make sure I don't catch anything else, that's it, and pull it through. And you can cut this yarn. We're going to have quite a lot of ends to sew in, but there are only 9 squares in this centerpiece, so it won't take too long. And that is round 3 complete. Now for round 4, we're going back to this mushy peas colour. And to be honest, you could have left your yarn without cutting it in round 2. But I chose to cut it just to make it easier for you to see. And also if you're a beginner and you want to just make a clean break with each round, that's fine. So this is now round 4. And I'm going to attach my yarn in one of these big spaces. You can see that the chain 3 gives you quite a big space, and that's where we're going to put the yarn and attach it. I always like to start somewhere away from where I finished. It just helps to balance it. So that is, let me just get that in. And we're going to make treble crochet stitches again. So double crochet if you're in the US, treble crochet in the UK. And we're going to put 4 treble crochets into this chain 3 space. So chain 2, which is the equivalent of the first double crochet stitch, and then another double crochet stitch. So that is the first 2 stitches. I'm going to break the 4 by chaining 1 in the middle, and you'll see why later. And then I'm going to make another treble crochet. Did I say double beforehand? Anyway, let's recap that very quickly. It's chain 2, treble crochet, chain 1, and we're going to put 2 treble crochets into the same space. So we've got a cluster of 4 this time, and there is a little break between each of the 2 of the 4. In the middle there's a chain 1 space. So that's treble 1, treble 2, chain 1, treble 1, treble 2. So again, you just need to work around all the spaces, chain 3 spaces in the circle, and I'll see you when we get back to the beginning. Round 4 is nearly complete, and I'm just going to slip stitch to close off the round. And again, it's just fine if you want to slip stitch into the top of the first treble stitch and cut the yarn. So that's round 4. Yes, we do have a lot of tails, so that will be the job to do once the square is complete. For round 5, this is the fun bit because we're working with this lovely variegated yarn. And this is interesting because we're not working into any of the stitches of round 4 for this round. You're actually going to split that double crochet stitch back in round 3. So you're going to put your hook between the two sides of the double crochet stitch and attach your yarn. Bring it right up to the top to attach it. So it's going to be, although it's a treble crochet stitch, it's actually going to be a bit longer than normal because it has to travel to the top of the green treble crochet stitches. So that is the yarn attached. Chain 2, which is again the equivalent of a treble crochet stitch. Yarn over, go back into that double crochet and pull up your loop and bring it up to the height and make your second double crochet stitch. And you've got 4 to make, so that is another 1 and a 4th one. Now, if you want to have a look at what that looks like, you've got your 4 stitches, but they have got longer legs than normal because you've had to travel to the top of the pale green. And on to the next, so it's yarn over, go straight along to this next double crochet stitch and pull up your loop and make a treble crochet stitch, and then 3 more. So I'm not putting any chains in between. It does look as if there's a bit of a jump to get to the next double crochet stitch to put your next cluster, but it will travel okay, because you'll see that. I'll just start that one again. You'll see what it looks like when I've done 2 clusters, and there you can see that's what it looks like. So straight into the next double crochet stitch with 4 treble crochet stitches, and so on all the way round. And just be aware, like I said, that you are going in, pulling up your loop and pulling your yarn up so that you've got it sitting at the top to make your double crochet stitch. So it's just a little bit of a longer stitch. And 4, and that's them all for this cluster. So that's 3 clusters made. So I will again work round my circle, and I'll see you when I get to the end of this round. So this is the end of round 4, and I'm back to where I started with the very first cluster of 4 treble stitches, and I'm just going to slip stitch into the top of that first treble stitch and pull through. I'll pull these ends. I'm going to sort out all the ends once I'm finished, so that will be a sewing in job at the very end of the square, but I'll just pull them through to the back for the time being so that they're out of the way. So that is round 4. In the winter season blanket, this shape here, which looks like a wedge, turns into a heart because of the next round. And although it's kind of sort of heart-shaped as well here, I don't think of it as a heart so much. I think of it more as a petal. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to shape this in the next round, and we're back to the pale green. And we're going to be working in 2 different parts of the previous round, or at least one part of the previous round and one part of the round before. So going to start in here. Now, do you remember when you made round 1, 2, 3, 4, this was 5. When you made round 4, you did a cluster of 4 treble stitches, but you put a chain 1 in between each 2. That just gives a kind of nice space to push your hook into, because that's where we're going to start. So in the chain 1 space between the 2 groups of 2 of round 4, and so this is round 6 we're doing. It gets a bit confusing, I think. So I've attached my yarn in the middle between the two groups of 2 trebles, and I'm going to chain 2 because we're going to put in some more treble stitches. This time just 3, so I'm chaining 2 and then 1, 2 trebles. So that's what you need to do in there. Now the next part is we're going to work in between the clusters of, or the double stitches in this group of 4. So you've got 2 stitches and 2 stitches. I didn't put a chain in between these ones because it's not so necessary. It's easier to see it. So I'm going to go in to yarn over, go into the space. There's a little space, your hook will find it between in the middle of this cluster of 4, and yarn over, pull it through, and you've got 3 loops on the hook. Now we're not going to make a treble crochet stitch. This time it's half treble. So to do that, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. And that makes a slightly smaller stitch than the treble crochet. And that's because these lilac stitches are further out than the stitches in this round. So again, 3 half treble stitches. So you yarn over and pull through all 3, yarn over, put your hook in, pull up your loop, yarn over and pull through all 3. And then we're on to the next pale green cluster of 4 with the chain 1 space, and it's 3 treble stitches. 1, 2, 3. And then between in the middle of the cluster of 4 of the lilac, it's 3 half treble stitches. So that's all you need to do to work all the way around, interspersing either 3 trebles or 3 half trebles, depending on where you're putting your hook. And remember that when it gets quite difficult to see, because the lilac is sitting on the top of the green, remember that you've got a chain 1 space. So it might have gone a little bit squint, as in this case. You can see that there are 2 stitches there, 2 stitches there, but your hook will be going into that chain 1 space. 3 trebles, 3 half trebles, 3 trebles, 3 half trebles, all the way round. So I will do as usual, work all the way around, and I'll see you when I get to the end of this round. So as usual, we're back at the end of the round, and I just need to slip stitch, and I'm going to just slip stitch into the first treble crochet stitch, cut the yarn and finish it off. And you can see that it's still in a nice circle, but because you've done a treble crochet and a half treble just to keep the circular shape. Now we're going to change colour, and we're also going to turn it over, and oh, what a mess. Look at all these ends that need to be sewn in. It doesn't take long though, honestly, it's not a problem. And my next colour is going back to the cream where we started right at the beginning, and this is going to start to form the square shape around the circle. This is where we're squaring the circle. Now we've got all these spaces between clusters. So you've got a treble crochet cluster and a half treble crochet cluster, but you're going to be working into these spaces between these clusters. So I'm going to just put my hook in one to attach my yarn. And we're going to start the first corner to make the square. So chain 3, 2, 3, and then 1 double treble stitch, which is the long crochet stitch, and you've done that right at the beginning. So it's yarn over twice, put your hook into the same space, yarn over and pull up your loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. That's half of your corner. We'll finish off the other half by the time we come round all 4 sides. Now we need to straighten this edge, and to do that we have to do a variety of different sizes of stitches. We're going to get 1 stitch size smaller than the double treble, and that's a treble, and you're going to put in 3 treble crochet stitches in the next space between the clusters. And then in the next space, 3 half trebles, so that's yarn over and pull through all 3, yarn over, go in, pull up your loop, yarn over, pull through all 3. You've just done that in the lilac, in the last round. So that's, you got your 3 double trebles, 3 trebles, 3 half trebles. Next one, it's 3 double crochets, so that's just straight in without yarning over, pull up a loop, 2 loops, pull through the 2. You've got 3 of these, and then we start to get bigger again. So the next one up is the half treble. It's 1, 2, 3, and then 3 trebles. 1, 2, 3. So we've done one side of our square. I'll put these wayward balls of yarn out of the way, and you can see that it's beginning to straighten off. Now we've got, in this next space, we've got the corner to make, so that's 3 double trebles, all going into the same space, chain 2, and that gives you the nice right angle, and then 3 more double trebles in the same space. So you've got 6 stitches in all in this particular space, and that gives you the corner. And I'll put that down, and you can see the right angle corner. So that we just need to repeat that, and it's 3 trebles, and 3 trebles in the next space. No, sorry, 3 half trebles. 3 trebles in this group, and then 3 half trebles. 1, 2, 3. 3 double crochets, that's just the small stitch. 1, 2, 3, and then 3 half trebles again. That's 1, 2, 3, and then 3 trebles. And there you can see we've got just about got the second side complete. We've just got the next corner to put, and then we'll do the same along here and along here. So I'll work all the way around, and I'll see you when I'm back. We've still got this very first corner to finish off, so I'll come back and show you what to do at that point. And we're just about at the end of the round, but remember there's still half of this first corner to do, so that's 1 double treble, 2 double trebles, and 3 double trebles in that corner space, and then chain 2. And it's time to close off the round and just slip stitch into the first double treble, the top of it, and we're not going to cut. I went to pick up my scissors, but we're not cutting the yarn for this round because we have a final round of the cream to do, and that's a straightforward treble crochet round, and I'll do that now, and then we'll attack these ends and get them tidied up. So it's chain 2. Now that chain 2 is the first treble stitch of the next round, but we make the chain 2 before we turn it, because we're going to turn this over, and this is back onto the front of the circle, and you'll notice that that chain 2, this is our corner space where we're going to make our new corner for this round, and the chain 2 is right at the extreme right side of this corner space. So I'm going to, unlike this round where we started with half a corner, I'm going to make a complete corner in this round. So that is the equivalent of the first treble, and I'm going to put in 1, 2 treble stitches, chain 2 to give us the nice sharp corner, and then 3 more treble stitches in that corner space. 1, 2, 3. So that is the first corner, and it's also complete. When you come round here, you'll just be finishing it off after your last treble cluster and slip stitching, and then into the next space with 3 trebles. This is a very easy round. It's just 3 trebles in each space, and treble 3, chain 2, treble 3 in each corner. So again, I'll work all the way round, and I'll see you at this point. So we're just about at the very end of this square. Remember that you made a complete corner when you started, so all you need to do is slip stitch into the first treble or the top of the first chain 2, whichever you prefer, cut your yarn and pull it through, and that is your square. Anyway, my needle is handy, my little tapestry needle with the large eye and the blunt end, and I am going to sew in some ends before I go any further. So I'm just going to pull everything through to the back. So the last round that you've made is on its front, and the circle is on the front. The only round that's on its reverse is this first round of the cream. Everything else is on the front, and I'm just going to pull in, use my hook and pull through some of these yarns to the back, like so, and then turn it over, and here's the mess. Now you just need to identify which is the very first tail, and that's the one that created the start of the square, and it's the only one that's going to be attached firmly, so that, well, when I say attached firmly, pulled firmly. The other ones will be attached just as securely, but they won't be pulled as tight, because you want to close up this center hole. And to do that, just push your hook, push your needle through the stitches. It's not coming through to the front, it's in the middle of these stitches, and I'm not pulling it tight. I'm going around, picking up nice big stitches, going around the perimeter of that center hole to roughly where you started, like that. So I've come all round with about 3 stitches, and then I'm going to pull it tight, and there you can see it closing up really well, and then just start and go back the way around the edge of that center hole. I do a little back stitch, so when I come through like that, I go over back a little bit and then pick up my stitch. That just anchors it even further. This is the crucial one. This is the end which I quite often see in people's photographs online when they've put their blanket through the machine to wash it. This is the end that, if it's not securely attached, has a tendency to pull out. So, you know, don't be afraid to give it as many stitches as you feel you need to hold it in place and stop it from pulling out. And once you're happy, I've gone round that 2 or 3 times while I was talking, just cut your yarn, and don't make the rookie mistake of cutting a stitch as you're cutting your yarn. And then you can pick, I just go in the order that the colours were put onto the square. So this is the outside cream tail, and I like to, or I really do recommend that when you're weaving your ends in at the back, you weave them through the same colour. So that's me going through the cream. This doesn't have to be pulled so tightly, and there's not so much tension on it. So I've just woven it through about a centimetre and back the same amount, and that's enough to hold that one. And then the first of the greens, and again just weave it through. If you split one of the stitches, that will even make it firmer, more secure, if you split the stitches a little. Now, if you've ever had to unravel anything, if you've made a mistake and you've already sewn the end in and you have to try and unravel it, you will know how difficult it is, especially if you have split the stitch. So that holds it more securely. And I'm going to put this one in. And I tend to choose a time when I'm maybe watching something on TV or Netflix or something, or chatting to somebody even, or waiting for the potatoes to boil or something like that. I just do these little jobs and they disappear very quickly. Now I'll go on and I will sew in all my other ends. And if you know my patterns, you'll know by now that this end here, which is the end on the final outside edge, I leave until I've joined, and we'll finish it off once I've joined the squares together. But all the others, definitely get your ends tidied up before you move on to anything else. So I've got 2, 4, 6, 8, something like that, 8 or 10 still to do, and it will take me 2 or 3 minutes. And that is your square for the center, or the first square for the center. I'll be back to show you what I do with the very center square, which is going to look a bit different. So I'll see you then.